Yo, what's up everybody? I know it's been a few days since I made my last video, and I'm sorry. I like to keep people entertained. I like to take care of my peeps. I like to keep shit moving on my channel. But I also don't want to force it, and I just wasn't feeling the YouTube vibe this week at all. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just because it's so fucking hot. When I get off of work, all I want to do is just lay down on my couch, grab my fan right there, and point it right at my crotch. Get some nice loose shorts on, no underwear, and just get a good breeze going right across my balls while I watch TV. In fact, after I'm done making this video, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I bought the Die Hard trilogy the other night. My girlfriend is out of town, so I'm going to lay down on that couch. I'm going to get some nice cool air on my nuts, and I'm going to watch Die Hard all night long. And I know you're jealous. I know you're jealous. That's some fine American cinema right there. It's going to be fucking glorious. Anyway, something happened to me at work the other day. I thought I'd make a video about it. I was talking to one of the girls that I work with, and she kind of got briefly onto the subject of religion, and she asked me, she said, "Oh, by the way, Paul, what denomination of Christian are you?" Just assuming that I'm a Christian, right? So, at this point, I had a choice. Now, I could have just brushed the question off and saved myself a lot of grief. And, I don't look down on atheists that choose to do that. If you don't wear your atheism on your sleeve at work, I don't think it makes you a coward. I just think you're saving yourself a lot of trouble. But I also like to tell the truth when I can. I don't like the fact that I should be, required to hide what I am at work, even if it does cause a bunch of fucking, idiotic questions for me to answer. So I just told her outright. I said, actually, I'm not a Christian. I'm not religious. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. She gave me this look like I had kicked her grandmother in the twat. She kind of, for just a second, and then she composed herself and said, "Really? Really, Paul? Wow, that's interesting. I never would have pegged you. That's really interesting." And then she proceeded to ask me one of the stupidest questions I think I've ever been asked. She asked me, she said, "Well, let me ask you something. Let's just hypothetically assume that half of the world is Muslim and half of the world is Christian, and you've got to be one or the other. Which one would you pick?" Now, obviously, I can't answer this question the way I want to. I'm at work. I've got to maintain a little bit of composure at work. So I just kind of blew the question off, and I said, "Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to think about that." But then I told myself that I was going to make up for having to do that by coming home and making a video about it. So let's answer this question, because obviously I know the fucking answer to this question. So let's find out how I arrived to my answer, okay? Let's deconstruct this whole thing. First of all, asking an atheist whether he would rather be a Muslim or a Christian is kind of like asking someone whether they'd rather eat a boiled buffalo penis or half of a bucket of whale semen, okay? There's not really much of a choice. It's not much to choose between there. But let's give it the benefit of the doubt. Let's go a little further into this. Let's say I choose to be a Christian. Well, what do I get for my choice? Well, let's see. I get to be a sexually repressed, sanctimonious douchebag who's more concerned with who's fucking who up the ass than raising my own children. Yeah, that's right. I get to walk around, I get to poke my nose into other people's fucking bedrooms. I get to tell you who to sleep with and how to sleep with them. I get to tell you who you can marry, what kind of operations you can have. I get to tell you what kind of science your children get to learn. I get to insinuate myself into politics. Hey, I'm an outgoing guy. I'm a go-getter, right? I think I'd slide right into that aspect of Christianity, so that's a good fit. Unfortunately, there's some other things about Christianity that wouldn't really mesh well with me. Sunday mornings, for instance, wouldn't work. I have to work on Sunday mornings sometimes. But when I get a Sunday off, I like to sleep till fucking noon. I like to get up, take a shower, come downstairs, eat a bowl of cereal at 1 p.m., and play some video games for a few hours. Well, if I'm a Christian, that shit's out the window, because now I got to get up all early, I got to put on all my nicest clothes, because, we got to keep up with the Joneses, and then I got to go to the world's most popular alcohol-free meat market, a.k.a. church. And I get to sit there with my little clique and basically make fun of all the other little cliques in church. I get to talk about whose wife is fucking whose husband and whose son got pulled over for a DUI. Basically, who's a better Christian. Shit like that. And also, because I'm at church, I get to worship. I get to worship. Well, what do I get to worship? That's a good question. Well, let's see. I get to worship a tantrum-prone, megalomaniacal, sociopathic deity that would drown the entire world to prove a point, that would nail his own flesh and blood to the cross to prove a point. And on top of that, if I don't love him in a very specific way, as outlined in a very specific 2,000-year-old book, then I get to go to hell for eternity and roast in agony forever. And I get to call that a loving, caring father figure in the sky. So there's Christianity for you. Well, what would happen if I chose to be a Muslim? Well, the first thing that would happen to me if I chose to be a Muslim would be, I'd have to rewind my mind about 600 years. I'd get to act like a medieval misogynistic asshole all the time. I'd be so afraid that I might run across a woman that's more intelligent than me or more competent than me, and, I couldn't handle that. So I'd have to oppress women at every turn, especially women in my close family unit. I'd have to constantly remind them that socially they're just 3 or 4 levels below me. And thankfully, the religion that I'm a member of really supports my male inadequacy issues. It really supports that fear of women. So that's a good thing, right? But unfortunately, I also have to be a two-faced asshole in public. And let me explain that to you. When I'm in public, I've got to say shit like this. Oh, I don't condone terrorism. I don't understand how anybody that calls themselves a Muslim could go out and kill an innocent. The Quran is very, very... And, I don't know why my Muslim accent sounds like some sort of a mix between Russian, Jamaican, and Transylvanian vampire, but I'm going to go with it. The Quran is very, very specific when it comes to the killing of innocents. The Quran frowns upon the killing of innocents. So anybody that would call themselves a Muslim and then go out and kill an innocent is obviously not well versed in the Quran and cannot call themselves a true Muslim. And that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Somebody says something like that, you think, that's a breath of fresh air. There's a Muslim that doesn't condone terrorism, doesn't condone suicide bombings. But if you dig a little bit deeper, you find something really disconcerting. You notice they always say innocents? I don't condone the killing of innocents. The Quran frowns upon the killing of innocents. So you ask, what is an innocent? According to the Quran, what is an innocent? Well, certainly not a kafir, right? What's a kafir? An infidel. Who's an infidel? Pretty much anybody that doesn't believe in line with Islam, right? They're a kafir. And Islam is pretty specific on what you can and can't do to kafirs. Islam is pretty specific in its encouraging people to go out and give their lives fighting kafirs until the entire planet is scoured of them, and there's nothing but Islam left. So basically, in public, I get to say one thing, but in private, every time a car bomb goes off in Karbala and 5 American soldiers are killed, I get a big fucking hard-on. So there's Islam for you. So which one do I choose? Has anybody guessed at this point which one of those two I would have to choose? In case you haven't, let me tell you, neither. Neither. I would rather be hunted down by a bunch of fucking Mormons on bicycles and a bunch of fucking turban-sporting, scimitar-wielding, Arabic pony-riding savages from the fucking desert and be beheaded or dragged by my toenails through the city streets while a bunch of shoeless children chase me and beat me with sticks until I'm dead. I would rather that happen than line up behind either one of those. And that's on top of the fact that I couldn't choose to be a Christian or a Muslim if I wanted to. My lack of belief in God is not a choice, okay? I either believe in something or I don't. I won't wake up tomorrow and just go, I think today I believe that Jesus is the Son of God. I think today I believe there is only one God and Muhammad is his prophet. No, I don't make choices like that. I can't choose to be a religious believer any more than I could choose to believe that the earth is pancake flat. Okay, you want to know what is a choice? Faith. The willing suspension of disbelief. Now that's a choice. When your bullshit alarm is going off and you choose not to listen to it, that's a choice. Okay, atheism is not a fucking choice. I hope that answers the question. I really do. I'm probably going to see you a couple more times this weekend. I'm feeling that, fire of anger burning deep down inside of me. So either I've got some videos welling up or the meatloaf I just had for dinner is not good. One of the two. But either way, you're going to be hearing more from me very soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks to all my new subscribers. I just topped out 500. So thanks, everybody. And until next time. Yeah. That's how Paul's ego do it.